And welcome in to the Week 4, Part 1 of the Fantasy 4-Pack Countdown Show. I'm your host, Ian Power, joined as always by Matt Vitale, Frankie Santiago. We're breaking down the first half of the Week 4 slate for you guys. Before we dive into that, let's introduce the beer that you brought for us today, Vitale, for our Beer of the Week.
So I had some ideas of what one I wanted, but finding the beer I was looking for was a little bit harder, so I went with something a little bit easier to find for us. This is Line of Googles. I hope I'm saying that right.
You are.
I've been saying it forever.
It's lemon gerbils.
Yeah. So funny enough, this is a summer shandy, so right at the tail end of summer, right into that fall. But
these might be the last 12 bottles of summer shandy in existence right now.
But no. Also, special reason I want to start pimping this drink to see if this show might be able to bring me some joy in the facet of. There's a flavor called Sunset Wheat that tastes like Fruity Pebbles, and it's been gone for years, and I'm on this one-man campaign to bring it back. So one day.
No longer in distribution up here. So
I don't think your campaign's going to go anywhere really, but I'm hoping it does for your sake.
Never say never.
Let Sunset cook. All right.
It's I think it's a pretty good beer, deviating from our normal string of IPAs that we've been running on. So nice to switch that up. As always, if you like what we're bringing to you guys as far as content, if you think we're entertaining, if you think we're bringing out some good calls on our picks and suggested waiver ads and whatnot, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that notification bell, follow us on Twitter. You can see the socials on the screen here. I'm probably not pointing at any
Yeah, I
of
was
them,
going to say, one day I'll master which way to point. I have this one down.
Our socials are somewhere on the screen here. So
there's no below, and then there's a direction, but I always forget what block saying them.
Follow us there to get all of our personal musings. Follow the show at the Fantasy 4-Pack. And make sure to tell your friends about us. Give us a share. Comment on our videos. We love interacting with you guys. And the more notoriety we get, the more followers we get, the more information we can bring to the viewing public.
And don't be afraid to ask questions. I mean,
Frankie, I just said that. Come on, Frankie. It's like you're not even listening to me.
I was focused on the beer.
Yes, Frankie's not wrong though. Like I said, don't be afraid to ask us questions, be it on YouTube in the comments section or on Twitter. We're always happy to answer them. Pretty light on news today, thankfully, but comes with a little bit of a caveat because the news we do have is massive.
Yeah,
so not a lot of news, but there's a very important news item, and that is, as we're shooting this video Wednesday night. So this news has been out for a hot minute at this point, but the Titans-Steelers game is being postponed due to COVID. Titans have 4 players testing positive at this point. As of now, no Vikings have tested positive, which was the team that they just recently played. So good news on that front. If you're holding on to any Houston or Vikings players for this week, it's looking like they're hopefully going to be able to go. Knock on plastic. The current plan right now that the NFL has laid out is that they're planning on having the Steelers and the Titans play either Monday night or Tuesday night.
Tuesday night.
So I'm hoping that we get one. Honestly, Tuesday night would be cool because then it feels like there's way less time between the end of this week and the beginning of next week for football. So I'm crossing my fingers for some Tuesday night football, but.
Well, no, it's going to be a nice substitute for Thursday night football because, the Jets and Broncos are playing, so is that...
Well, yeah, but that doesn't help us this week.
Yeah, as far as me, I feel like this is going to be something where they're just going to have to call this a bye because I don't think 2 extra days at most is going to make the cases go away. If they've already got it, then...
So it's not that they're trying to make the cases go away. They're trying to give extra time for reporting. To basically to see if anyone else keeps popping up or if the cases stop, because it's that 48 to 72 hour incubation window, and then assuming that the cases stop popping up and that the Titans players that aren't infected are able to just go ahead and play, the extra day or two gives the Titans a day to have practice basically. So it's a little extra prep time to make sure that the Titans aren't going to be playing without any practice at all, which is a recipe to get hurt. and it gives the NFL a little more time to see if any new cases keep popping up. So I wouldn't be surprised if it plays this week. I'm currently planning on it playing. It sounds like they're expecting it to go. I mean, the NFL has been pretty clear with their statement so far that even if you're missing 5, 10, 15 players, like if you have the bodies to play the game, it doesn't matter if 10 of those bodies are practice squad guys, you're playing the game. So have a plan, basically, I think is my take on that. Move your Steelers into your flex position if you can, or your Titans into your flex position if you can, because you want to be able to sub them out for someone else at a moment's notice. So you don't want to get caught with your pants down and have James Conner in the running back slot, and you just don't have someone else to play over him.
So when do you think we're going to get the notification if they are going to play Monday or Tuesday? Because
I would imagine tomorrow or Friday.
I was like, because one question that I've been asked already is like, oh well, what if they just don't end up playing? Then everybody's already played. Then you have to.
That's a risk that you run. If you're worried about that, bench your Steelers and your Titans. Like it is a risk you run if you are plugging them into lineups without having a backup, option. And if they're playing Tuesday, but if they're playing Tuesday, we're going to know that they're playing Tuesday. So I might not keep them in my lineups unless I have somebody playing in that Monday night game, because you want to be able to have options to pivot to. And if it ends with a late cancellation, a new case pops up Sunday night or something like that, you don't want to be, leaving an open roster spot because everyone's already played.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed that it goes off, though. Should be a fun game. A lot of good options in that game for fantasy managers. So outside of that, Kittle back at practice, logged a full practice today. Great to see for him. Excited to see him back on the field. That should be good things for the 49ers offense as a whole, too, because they've been sorely lacking. And Damian Harris and Deebo Samuel are being activated from the IR. They're expected to practice this week. So something to keep track of. I'm probably not starting either of them, even if they are fully practicing, because I want to give them a little more ramp-up time. But it's good for fantasy managers who might have been holding on to these guys. That they're going to be able to use them sooner rather than later. You guys ready to dive into this slate?
Let's do it.
We're opening up the Week 4 slate with the red-hot matchup. Denver Broncos at New York Jets. 40-point over-under. I mean, I'm pounding the under on this game. I don't know who's going to score 20 points a team. This feels kind of like Vegas was like, well, we can't put it lower than 40, right?
Yeah, for me, the bigger thing that was a shocker to me is just seeing the spread at 1 point, in favor of the Broncos.
Yep.
So, normally you give the home team 3 points just for having that home field advantage, and the Jets can't even get all of that. They got 1 point. So, yeah, for this one, I don't know if I'd throw any money on it, but, I'd pound that under just because I don't know who's scoring 20 points, let alone both of them.
So typically we go through and go position by position asking who. I'm just going to simplify this one. Is there anyone from this game on either side of the ball that you're starting with confidence?
I'm starting Noah Fant, but I'm not starting him with confidence.
Yeah, I'd start Fant just because everyone else on Denver's banged up and ball's got to go somewhere.
I mean, honestly, I start Gesicki too. He's looked real good.
Gesicki?
Yeah. Oh, wrong game. Next game.
I'd love to start Gesicki in that game.
Yeah, if I could somehow start Mike Gesicki in this New York Jets Denver Broncos game.
Well, just looking at the next game, I'm starting Gesicki. But
yeah, for me, I'm starting Melvin Gordon because I think Melvin Gordon should be able to eat against this defense. I'm not starting any Jets unless I am really hammered with injuries. And I think both the defenses are in play because it's going to be such a low-scoring game. It's probably going to be a really bad game. The Jets' defense hasn't been terrible for fantasy this year. It hasn't been great, but it's just sort of an average. Same with the Broncos' defense. I think there's going to be enough mistakes going around in this game that you could get a good week out of either of those defenses. Let's jump to the next one, though. This is a little more of an exciting game. 53-point over-under. Seattle Seahawks, Miami Dolphins. This is one that I'm much more excited to play players in. We should be getting A pretty good day out of Devontae Parker and Mike Gesicki. I'm okay streaming Ryan Fitzpatrick if I need to in this one, and then obviously you're starting all your Seahawks. I want to get you guys' thoughts on the running backs, though. Are you willing to roll out Myles Gaskin and Carlos Hyde in this matchup?
Yeah, I think they both have plenty of flex value this week, especially Hyde. Gaskin's at least shown he's getting the work, and Seattle has given up a lot of points. Though as far as for this matchup, I honestly don't. I think that's going to come down. So this 53-point total, I think it's going to be an easy under for most people.
Yep.
I think the Seahawks are still going to do what they've been doing, but I think you're going to see a late quarter. Like they're going to get ahead early, and I think we're going to see. I think that's the big reason for Carlos Hyde to be a start this week.
Sure.
Is that they're just going to grind it out, and use their backup running back to keep everyone fresh.
Yeah, this feels like it could be like a 24-14 game.
Yeah, I think that, and I mean, speaking to both of those guys, I agree with Vitale's point about Hyde. And Gaskin's been getting a lot of red zone touches too, so he's definitely the back that you want to own in that backfield.
Oh,
so,
for sure. I mean, the other two are droppable in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I actually just dropped Jordan Howard in one of the other leagues. I mean, Hyde I probably would have started anyways. Well, I mean, with the whole Carson injury, so either way, he's gonna have that starting role now, so I can't see myself, flexing him at the least.
Yeah, I kind of figured this because of the fantasy points available in this game. This is a game where you're probably not sitting any of these guys, especially with Gaskin and Hyde being running backs, which is a position that is already kind of shallow, and we've lost some names to that position already. You might be in a position where you don't have a choice to sit them. I don't think they're bad plays in this matchup, though. So, my take on this one is just start basically everyone from both sides of the ball. Hope that it hits the over, because the more points scored in this game, obviously the better it is for fantasy matchups, and these are two quarterbacks that can sling it. So it'll be interesting to watch. Not thinking I'm going to make it my 1:00 game though. Ravens Washington football team though, this one could be interesting. Can Washington football team hold on to that stranglehold they've got on top of the NFC East? Can the Ravens bounce back from getting thoroughly trounced by the Chiefs, especially with a tough team to go against like this?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit too much disrespect thrown at Washington for that 13-point spread. We know Baltimore can score and score a lot, but Washington's front seven looks legit. Like I said, they've been drafting right. Ron Rivera's had clearly an immediate and solid impact on this team.
Yep.
I think the big question is, how confident are you in your studs this week for the Gibson and McLaurin owners?
Terry, I'm rolling out. There's no question on my mind. You start Terry regardless of matchup. He's a talented enough receiver that he can get it done against basically anyone in the league. I'm sitting Gibson if I can. This Ravens front seven is no joke. If I don't have a choice, I guess I'm fine rolling him out. But if I have a better option, I am.
Yeah, looking at that Chiefs-Ravens game, the Ravens clearly want to run the ball, and they looked good for a little bit, and then the Chiefs kind of just got away with it, so they couldn't afford to. I think the Washington front seven's pretty good. They're gonna be able to stop some of that, but I don't think they can stop all of it.
Yeah, I'm not excited for any running backs in this game. I don't want to start my Ravens. I don't want to start my Washington football teams. The passing game, yeah, that's a mouthful to have to say. Please, for the love of God, Washington, pick a team name.
It's going to be worse if they make the playoffs.
For the passing game, I'm fine. Like I said, I'm fine starting Terry. I'm fine rolling Logan Thomas out there if you need him. And then on the Ravens side of the ball, you're playing Hollywood and you're playing Mark Andrews. But this game, I think it's going to be surprisingly limited for fantasy options.
So, just to put it to you, because this is definitely a question some people might be making, is if you're an owner looking at your flex spot, maybe let's say Titans, you're going to be out Titans or something like that, so you're really stretched for options. If you've got both of these guys, who are you starting? Gaskin or Gibson?
Probably Gaskin. I expect that game to score more points.
Yeah,
I think this one could be a really low-scoring affair or a really one-sided affair, a la Baltimore-Cleveland to start the season. Terry McLaurin is the only Washington football teamer that I'm starting with any degree of confidence.
Yeah,
I mean, at this point, shouldn't we just call them football players?
They are football players.
Washington football players.
Yeah, Gaskin is definitely the safer choice here. I mean, I think that game's going to be at least potentially more back and forth than this one. I think this one's going to be kind of a slow grinder where it's more defense heavy than anything else.
Yeah,
there's going to be a lot of 3-and-outs.
I'm fading this game in DraftKings hard. I mean, there's no good values in it. I think it's going to be a slow game. So let's move on to a little more of a fast-paced one, hopefully. Chargers, Buccaneers. We get to see a little bit more of the rookie Justin Herbert, who showered Keenan Allen in targets. We get to see more of Austin Eckler, who is always a joy to watch. I mean, he looks great this year. And on the Buccaneers side of the ball, I mean, there's no one over there. You aren't starting either running back in this contest for the Buccaneers. Chris Godwin's missing 2 weeks. Like, you're probably starting Mike Evans because he's,
I mean, if you draft him, you kind of have to.
He should be getting a lot of targets, but like, the Chargers can double, triple. I mean, the Chargers have elite cornerbacks. They have, I'd say, an elite defense overall. And Mike Evans is the only guy out there. Like, I'm not worried about really anyone in this matchup. If I'm facing off against Buccaneers players, this is a tough matchup for them.
Yeah, I was on Brady and the Bucs last week, but this one I'm definitely on the fade side of it, just because, like, Mike Evans, if you got to roll him out there, you're happy with his touchdowns. You're very, very unhappy with his yardage.
Yeah.
I mean, on pace right now for like 500 yards. Like, and he's
500 yards and 16 touchdowns, though.
Oh yeah, he's gonna beat Aaron Jones for the touchdown title, like overall.
Yeah, no, I was actually thinking about this morning on the way to work. Like, Mike Evans he's always been like that player, but now I think it's reversed, where it's like he's getting the touchdowns, but he's not getting like those long bomb yardages where it's like, oh yeah, cool, he got 10 targets, he caught like 3 of them. One was for a touchdown, and there were 2 40-yard receptions, so that's where he's getting all his points.
Exactly. Like, Evans managers are in the unenviable spot this week of having to start Evans, and on, I guess in a vacuum, it looks like it could be a good situation for him because he's like, Godwin's targets have to go somewhere. I just don't know how much Evans is going to be able to do against this Chargers defense. Like, the Buccaneers are going to be outmatched in this game, I think. Like, they might still end up winning it, but I wouldn't be shocked if they lose because, the Chargers have a strong front seven. They're going to be getting into the pocket. They're going to be chasing Brady. They've got a great cornerback duo. They're going to be able to, just bracket Mike Evans and dare the Buccaneers to score with their other players. So Brady's going to try and do that,
I mean, both
Scotty Miller's hurt for the last time I checked, so like they don't even have him available, and he was their next best guy.
I mean, O.J. Howard's 3,300 on DraftKings.
O.J. Howard is someone I'm potentially interested in a spot start this week because I think he's going to be one of the recipients of this, just dare to score with other players. But this is a high risk matchup.
Yeah. I mean, with this one, honestly, I'm thinking this might be a sneaky Gronk game. Like, Gronk's getting paid $9 million to do something, and I feel like the locker room's going to be looking at him like, hey, we're paying this guy $9 million. We have no one. Can we finally use the high-powered tight end?
Yeah.
The Hall of Fame tight end?
Yes, you can use the high-powered tight end. O.J. Howard is ready to catch passes.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, they paid him. I know the coach, he is posting. He's happy about these wins that they're getting, but Gronk is not happy to roll out there, throw some chip blocks, and catch maybe one pass a game. So
yeah,
I could just see them bringing out a little bit of
the two tight end sets.
The 2 tight end classic Brady sets.
On the other side of the ball, you're starting Keenan Allen. You're starting Austin Eckler. I imagine you're probably sitting everyone else. Maybe you're starting Hunter Henry in this one. How are the Buccaneers against the tight end? The Buccaneers have been a good defense against the tight end so far, 9th best in the NFL. They've been strong against the wide receiver also as well. 8th best so far. Really, running back has been their most exploitable spot. I'm I'm not sitting any of those three, I guess, if I have them, because I probably don't have a better option. And honestly, like, Austin Eckler and Keenan Allen both should be in a spot to score lots of fantasy points.
Yeah.
But this is a game where I don't really get jazzed up about it. I think it's just gonna be. I think it's gonna be fine for fantasy managers. I don't think that anyone's gonna be winning their week off this game.
What about this next game?
Browns Cowboys. 56 point over under. I think that is high with how we've seen the Browns play so far.
It is pretty bold considering that Seahawks Cowboys was only 57.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know where they're getting 56.
maybe
from.
they just think the Cowboys are going to score 50 points against the Browns.
Our defense is terrible.
I know it is, but the Browns don't play fast. They're not a pace-up team, and they are still like shades of the Browns. This is another game where I'm hitting the under in this one, and for me, it's just a start your studs type week. I'm rolling out Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and probably Odell Beckham, but I don't want to. And that's it for Cleveland. And on the other side of the ball, you're just starting everyone because that's what you have to do with the Cowboys, apparently. And you're hoping that you're hoping that the guy that you start is the one that gets the 3 touchdowns.
Shout out to Cedric Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just like, first option, no. Second option, whoever in that third slot, though, that's the money spot.
So you think we're gonna see a little bit of that Baltimore Cleveland season opener in this one?
I hope not. I think it's going to be a little higher scoring than that, but I honestly don't see how the Browns can keep up with the Cowboys. I think that it's just going to be the Cowboys are running away from it. This might be a big Zeke game because I imagine the boys are going to be up. I don't see how they can possibly expect them to be able to keep up with the Cowboys. Like 56 seems way too high because I could see the Browns scoring like 2, maybe 3 touchdowns this game and just not getting it done.
Yeah, I have them for me, they're going to get about like 2 touchdowns, maybe a couple field goals. Like I'm having them barely scrape into 20. Like I think if they get 25 points, I'd be shocked. Just because another one where just the Cowboys, I could see them having a few just good drives to start this game, getting up and then just letting Zeke just eat the clock. Just get out of there.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the safest assumption.
The caveat there is that how the Cowboys have been playing, I also wouldn't be too shocked if just out of nowhere the Browns start clicking and it's the other way around where the Cowboys just can't get it done.
This is the balm for that Browns team where the Browns just finally hit their stride and start scoring points and the Cowboys lose like 37-35 or something like that.
Hey, we are in week 4. This is where the end of preseason will be happening. We've started the regular season.
So you're saying there's a chance that the Browns pop. All right, I'm in.
I'm saying there's a chance that, honestly, realistically, everybody gets into that game speed and starts popping. Like, we get to see... Well, I mean, Rodgers has already been doing it. So has Russ, but...
I'm not fading this game. I'm just saying temper your expectations. It is still the Browns. Saints-Lions, 54 point over-under. Another one that feels high because of how Drew Brees has looked. It feels like just because of the scoring so far this year, like Vegas just getting like lulled into just throwing high over-unders at everyone. So I'm honestly more open to the Lions side of the ball on this one. Like I'm starting most of my Lions this week. Are there any Saints that you are comfortable starting that aren't named Alvin Kamara?
No, that's pretty much it. That's yeah.
Kamara.
They didn't look good last week at all.
I know.
Yeah,
Drew Brees put up a fine stat line, but it's because Alvin Kamara apparently can just like phase through people like vision. Like he's walking through defenders as he's going to the end zone.
Yeah, the Saints finally got some retribution for that Beastquake, and he got sleek mode on them. Like I think that's the only way you get a solid day out of Drew Brees, and it looks like that's exactly what Drew Brees wants to do this season. Is just look around the field, pretend he's a real quarterback, and then as soon as Kamara turns around, he's like, okay, now it's the design play to me that we totally just disguise and then just dinks it for 2 yards and sees what Kamara can do. Like I think by this is gonna be like the Kamara stat line at the end of the year is just gonna look like he was a wideout that they sometimes use for running. Like he's gonna continue having these games of like 5 to 6 rushes, but like 10 targets, and then like maybe that reverts back a little. Like maybe Drew Brees becomes startable again when Michael Thomas is back and he has 2 people he can throw to in short yardage.
I think that Kamara is going to pull back once Michael Thomas comes back. I think Brees might go back to being startable, but like with how he's looked, I'm still not excited about it.
Yeah, I think Brees is kind of
in the meantime, it's Alvin Kamara, just ride him until he breaks because we've seen this before.
They're just Drew Brees is he's saving all his energy for when Michael Thomas is back. He's gonna get the ball down the field. So
Lions, and like I said, Lions side of the ball, you're starting Stafford, you're starting Kenny, you're starting Marvin Jones probably, you're starting T.J. Hawkinson. You're not starting any running backs unless they're named Adrian Peterson because apparently Matt Patricia thinks it's 2010. Like,
honestly, the Lions didn't look bad last week against the Cards.
They didn't. Like I said, I like the Lions. I think the Lions are in a good spot this week. It's another game where it feels like a high over under. Because if the Lions can figure out a way to at least contain Kamara, slow him down a little bit, where he's not just making impossible jukes and causing everyone to miss. I don't see how the Saints score without Kamara literally carrying the team.
Yeah, I think this is for the Saints' recipe for victory is short yardage fields. That way, Kamara just has to take it 20 yards.
They should consider just direct snapping it to Kamara and just running in a V formation down the field.
But then, how does Drew Brees get his passing yards? He has to maintain
just snowplow formation down the field. No, that would be ridiculous. Colts Bears 43-point over under. This is actually one of the games I'm a little more excited to watch. I like watching Jonathan Taylor run. The Bears should be interesting because I want to see if I'm right and everyone in that offense or every quarterback in that offense is terrible, or if Nick Foles can recapture some of that Super Bowl winning magic. Either way, though, I think this is going to be a good game for both running backs. Potentially a good game for T.Y. Hilton and Allen Robinson. And I'm probably not starting anyone aside from that. If I need to, I guess I'm starting Jimmy Graham or Mo Alley Cox. If you need a spot start at tight end, maybe you have Jonnu or something. But there's not a lot of it's the obvious options and kind of no one else for me in this game. Yeah,
there's no real sleepers here. I mean, you're gonna play who you're gonna play, and that's it. Don't get cute with it.
Yeah, this is a game for me that it looks gross on paper and off of paper. Like, just there's guys here that can legit do it, but man, I had far more hope for the Bears. I figured that maybe that we could see that bounce back to Mitch Trubisky when he was actually, putting in work and got him into the playoffs, and he had 4 touchdown games, but he hasn't done it yet. He's already on the bench. I think Foles is he has some magic horseshoe that gives him 4 games of good luck, and then it runs out. And I think he's, we've already passed game 1, so I guess according to my logic, is start him for 2 or 3 more games.
Yeah,
and then the juice will run out, and he'll go back to being.
If you're riding Foles, it's a dangerous game to play.
Phrasing.
You're gambling.
Yeah, you're gambling. You're gambling, all right. That's like riding Fitzpatrick. You're praying the magic doesn't wear off while he's in your starting lineup.
I mean, the Falcons just can't play defense, so I'm not really surprised they came back and won last week.
I'm still surprised because, as I said on our Tuesday show, the Falcons are beating math with how bad they are. So, I'm surprised that happened.
Listen, I'm a very happy Calvin Ridley owner.
I can't imagine there's a lot of Calvin Ridley managers who are unhappy at this point. You got him with a 3rd or 4th round pick at most leagues, and he is vastly outperforming his draft stock. So, well, that'll get us to the halfway point for this week 4 slate. So let's do a quick beer check, see where everyone's at. I'm at the bottom of 1.
I'm also at the bottom of 1.
First sip into 1, 2. Sorry.
Oh, so I guess
the floor is yours then, Vitale. Take us away.
Yeah. I mean, it's that. I think Lion Googles makes a solid product, and I think I'll just keep it to that. Is just my fond memories of that sunset wheat. I think I just have to. It's like the book. I think it's Vision or something like that. We have to will things that you want into existence. You have to put up a dream board. I remember in Always Sunny they make fun of it, but no, I'm gonna will into existence that there is a chance that the son of an uncle of a grandchild of someone that works at Line and Google is watching this podcast and gets a big W because of some random start. Where we're like, yeah, go for that Jets defense, and they start them to get 14 points and they win, and they're top of their league now. And you know what, Grandpa? Send the Fruity Pebbles Sunset Wheat back to the Northeast, and I will just be the happiest boy. I'll have to take a couple weeks off of work just to really marinate in it, because it just, like I said, it's one of those beers that just brings me back to a simpler time when 2020 was still 6 years out. It was college time, and it was just, I didn't have to worry about much. I just played fantasy football, and I drafted Dwayne Bowe, and he was terrible, and I traded for Drew Brees, and he was good, but it was too late. And I had Marshawn Lynch, and he was amazing. It was classic Skittles.
That was 2011.
Oh,
Vitale, just as a whole.
That was a whole 4-year block for me. It was just hope.
Have you thought about writing an email or adding them on Twitter?
No, that's not magical enough. I mean, maybe Twitter, because I guess that's where you do everything now.
Yeah.
Do they have a saucy? You're the Twitter man. Do they have a saucy account?
I don't follow Line.
You're a beer buyer, Frank. You're not supposed to know these things.
Vitale needs this to be like a fairy tale where just the CEO of
the
Line and Google comes riding up on a white stallion to the house with a crate of Sunset Wheat taped to the back.
A boy can dream.
Vitale lets down his hair so he can climb in and deliver beer.
Yeah. I'll just trade him shoes for your beers.
All right, that'll do it for us today. Join us again tomorrow as Vitale and I and a new Thursday guest host for the time being take you through the second half of Week 4's games, and maybe as a bonus game we'll just break down the Steelers and Titans anyway. Just try that whole willing it into existence thing. If we break down the game, they have to play it. All right, see you guys tomorrow.